is more than just a podcast, baby.
It's a revolution with rhythm. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to the Black Death 101 podcast, where the streets talk and the reels roll. We dissect our favorite blaxploitation films that saved Hollywood and still influence it today. I'm your host, Nubius Black, and giving him 5 on the right-hand side, my brother from another mother, Johnny Depp. What's up, man?
Hey, Nubius. Glad to have you back. Slide on in, listeners. You found Black Death 101, where cinema fights back, the funk cuts deep, and the heroes, they don't wait for permission. I'm your co-host, Johnny Death, and tonight we're talking about a film that doesn't scream revolution, it enforces it. This is Slaughter. Jim Brown. No badge, no patience, no negotiation, just fists of stone and a big fucking gun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But before we get to that, let's tell you, spoiler alert, if you didn't see these films, we don't know what you're waiting on, but we're going to be your funky gateways into seeing these films. Maybe you'll want to peek on in. It'll allow us to open the funky floodgates. But before we do that, do us a favor. Like, subscribe, and share. And be forewarned. Trust me, Rip Torn is the reason you're going to be forewarned, because he uses some racially charged language in this one. Give us the lowdown, Johnny.
When Slaughter arrives in 1972, America is exhausted. The Vietnam War is still grinding forward. Body counts on the nightly news, draft notices in the mailbox, trust in government collapsing. Watergate, it's unfolding quietly in the background. The lie is in the air, even if the headlines haven't hit yet. Inflation is climbing, cities are tense, institutions feel hollow, and for Black America, the great voices are gone. Martin is gone. Malcolm is gone. The Panthers are hunted. COINTELPRO has done its damage, and what remains isn't hope or despair, it's clarity. Audiences aren't looking for speeches anymore, they're looking for results. And that's the exact moment Slaughter steps into. This isn't fantasy escape, it's fantasy control. A Black man who doesn't plead with broken systems, he moves through them. That's why Slaughter doesn't feel exaggerated, as do some of our other movies. It feels necessary. The film opens with an older couple getting into a nice, beautiful Rolls Royce, and the car blows up.
Of course, it's the 70s. They all blow up.
Slaughter stars Jim Brown as Slaughter, a Vietnam veteran and former Green Beret whose father and mother are killed by a car bomb ordered by organized crime. He goes to see one of his father's friends, and I don't know, maybe she was his mistress. Her name's Jenny. She doesn't want to tell him what's going on. She says, your father knew people that he was dealing with and what they were capable of. Slaughter, Jim Brown, tells her, well, my mom didn't. She was completely innocent. And while they're speaking, a guy breaks through the window, unloads a machine gun into the apartment, murdering Jenny, who just barely manages to give a name. Hoffa to Slaughter. Marlene Clark shows up in what I can only call a hint of an outfit, and says she's a reporter and she's trying to get the story on what happened to Slaughter's parents. Slaughter wants nothing to do with her. He's tracked the killers to the airport and blows one of the guys away. He steps out of his car, just blows the guy away, bullet to the head. The rest of them take off into the airplane, and we get a car versus small plane chase scene where Slaughter knocks the frickin' airplane over with his car, and the guys in there burn to death, one managing to escape as about 100 cops arrive out of nowhere. He's arrested, taken in, and he finds out the plane was under surveillance by the Treasury agent, who are tracking some interesting computer cards that have all the details of this organized crime. And Slaughter just blew the case for them. They make him sign a confession, but tell him they'll throw the confession away if he goes to an unnamed South American country and takes out Hoffa, gets the computer information for them, and leaves a bunch of bodies in his wake.
And that is the basic lowdown of this picture, but My God. You know, in the 70s, like I jokingly said, is like, don't ever do two things. In this movie, three, don't get in a car, it will blow up. Don't stand by a window and pontificate about your life choices because you will get shot. And don't be friends with Jim Brown because you'll be killed there too. Everybody who's close to this dude is getting shot and beat the fuck up. But it's insane. Again, like you said, they had Jim Brown, football great, activist, actor. He did it all. I mean, and I think he started in the Dirty Dozen, and he
Yeah, he
worked.
started in the Dirty Dozen, and in the Dirty Dozen, he famously refused to film a death scene. The way he told it, it was not ego, it was principle, because Jim Brown did not see black men as disposable on screen, and neither did his audience.
Because he, literally seeing them being disposable in the Vietnam War, I can understand. Then you got Stella Stevens, who a couple episodes ago, you set me hip because I never knew that Stella Stevens was the mother of Andrew Stevens from what is the one where he was a fucking X-Man? God damn it. With Kirk
The
Douglas.
Fury,
The Fury. Great fucking movie. That was
Brian
an
De
X-Man
Palma.
film, dude. X-Man film. Then you got Rip Torn, a man's first and last name who sounds like something that happens to your clothes. Rip Torn. Who the fuck came up with that shit? But he made it work. I first was turned on to him to Beastmaster, where he played the evil sorcerer guy. And of course, he was in the Men in Black and Dodgeball and shit like that. And then we have our mainstay, Marlene Clark, who looked sexy twice in this movie, which was weird because they didn't use her a lot in this film. She was actually like, she wasn't a girl on the streets or she wasn't like the sassy sidekick. She worked for the government. So she was basically the handler of Jim Brown and his partner, which I'm trying to remember his name, his partner.
Harry.
He fucking, he's that guy. He's literally another one of those guys you go, I seen this motherfucker in 1,000 films. Always playing a heavy or some dirtbag in a fucking movies and TV.
This might actually be the movie that I best remember him, that he stands out. In fact, when we first meet him, Slaughter gets to his hotel room and Harry's waiting for him
Cameron
there.
Mitchell.
And Slaughter just, oh no, Cameron Mitchell doesn't play Harry. Cameron Mitchell plays the head of the Treasury. He's the
I'm
guy that
sorry.
makes the
Yeah,
deal with Slaughter.
you're right. He's the cop that's, he was so smart to lean in. Think about this. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know who Jim Brown is, and if you don't, shame on you. But even in an acting role, do you think it is a smart idea to sit at a table across from Jim Brown, lean in face to face, call him a nigger, and don't expect to get beat the fuck up, if not killed? I was like, oh my God, he's gonna kill this guy. And then
And this guy is the head of the Treasury
right,
Department.
and he starts
Calling him a nigger.
moonwalking backwards after that shit. Like, like, dude, why would you want to poke the bear? And if you wanted to poke the bear, why poke that one? Don't poke the brown bear. You know what I mean? And yeah, that
That's
guy
a
we were
big
talking about was
fucking bear,
Don
man.
Gordon. Don Gordon is that
Yes.
guy. He has that chiseled face.
And the great thing is Slaughter walks into the hotel room. Harry's basically there like, hey, pleased to meet you. And Slaughter just
And
beats
beat
the
the
crap
shit
out of
out
him.
of him. Okay, you bring up that scene where that scene is an awesome scene because it's like Jim Brown is just tearing the fucking apartment up with this, throwing him through shit, beating him up, and then they do a thing that we seen in Lethal Weapon 2, where they both take a tumble out of the fucking window into the swimming pool and continue to fight. It's the same fucking thing. See? What's new is used, really.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Everything old is new again. If you haven't seen it, it's new to you.
Exactly. Continue.
Cameron Mitchell enters the picture as a Treasury Department official, A.W. Price. Mitchell is a genre legend. He had just starred with Sidney Poitier in Buck and the Preacher. Cameron plays the system's voice perfectly. He offers Slaughter a deal. He calls him a nigger, as you said,
Right.
and then says, sign this confession. Slaughter grabs him by the necktie, drags him across the table, takes the pen, signs the confession, then slides Cameron Mitchell and the confession back over to Cameron's side of the table. Mitchell says, "You do this job for us, and we'll get rid of this confession. It'll just disappear." All he has to do is go to this unnamed South American country, which was actually Mexico. They shoot the film at Churubusco Studios in Mexico, home of Free Willy. And they're
Right.
shooting, and the Mexican Film Board, they get a look at the script and they go, "Hey, no, man, this portrays Mexico in a negative light." So they immediately just make it an unnamed South American country. There's a supercomputer involved, early 70s paranoia tech, crime run by data. The system is now telling him, "We'll forgive you if we can use you." And he agrees, not because he trusts them. I wouldn't trust Cameron Mitchell as far as he could throw me, which is not far,
No.
because Slaughter has unfinished business.
Now, where I don't understand, you're a smart guy, or at least you play one on a podcast. I got a question, a few questions, Bobby, with this movie. What is
Okay.
Slaughter's real fucking name in this? Is it just Slaughter? Because he don't have a name like
It's
Bill.
just
He
it's
ain't
just
Bill.
Slaughter. No first name, no last name, just
And
Slaughter.
is it me, or does Slaughter answer every inquiry with a punch in the face or getting thrown through something in this movie? Because he never just answers a fucking question. He's gonna lay hands on you.
Unless it's a girl asking the
He's
question.
gonna lay hands on you then too, but that's a different story. And
You're absolutely right.
Slaughter will he'll beat the shit out of you and then have a drink with you.
Yeah. And then become your best friend. Jim Brown came into the film after a 9-month break from acting, during which he worked with the Black Economic Union. And this is a reminder that Brown's politics didn't shut off when the camera did.
No, no,
The
no.
film was produced by, what was his name? Monroe Saxon for American International. Budget, $850,000. Filmed in Mexico City, Churubusco. But as I said, Mexican censorship board demanded the country not be identified because they didn't want Mexico portrayed in a negative light. So the movie
That's
exists in
funny.
this fascinating limbo. It is.
Jim,
Yeah. So
Jim
this is a
Brown,
real place pretending not to be a real place.
exactly.
And it's perfect for this story about systems hiding their tracks.
And hiding them badly, because Jim Brown just goes there. He's the only black man in this fictitious Hispanic community, which are ran by Italians. Now, figure that out. I realized while we were doing this podcast, we seen the Afro, the Jufro, and now we got a lead Italian guy. What was he wearing? What was that? A fucking wop fro? He had
That was Norman Alfie. I don't think I've seen him in anything else as Mario Felici, the head of the mob, or at least he still thinks he's the boss. But Donovic rather, but Donovic has taken over. In fact, there's one part where a couple of the guys working directly for Donovic go to pick up some more of these computer cards because Donovic is copying all the data so he can take over everything. The guys that are doing this for him say, we don't think we should be doing this anymore. We're getting scared. Oh, you're getting scared? You want out? He takes out a gun. He looks at the other guy and goes, "You want out too?" And the other guy goes, "No, man, I'm cool." And he says, "Okay, here's the gun. Kill your buddy."
right.
And they make him shoot his friend twice with a fucking shotgun. The director is Jack Sterrett. Now, Sterrett doesn't decorate scenes. He simply pushes them forward. He is an extremely competent TV and low-budget film director. He understands pacing. He loves car chases. There's no wasted motion, and there's no indulgence in this. He lets Jim Brown's physical certainty do most of the talking. Sterrett, right after this, went on to direct Cleopatra Jones, another
Right.
film.
And you had car chases in that.
Yes,
Multiple.
yes. Stella Stevens, our Playboy centerfold romantic interest, eye candy in this one, she goes on to play the bad guy in Cleopatra Jones and the
Exactly.
Casino of Gold. So everything is interconnected. Dominic Hoffo, as we said, played by Rip Torn before the eccentric elder phase that he had on Larry Sanders or in the Men in Black movies. Here he's cold an entitled, openly racist motherfucker. He works under Felici, but he's too violent, too cruel, and too power hungry. And Rip Torn makes Hoffo dangerous because in his eyes, you see a little insanity,
Oh yeah,
and he believes he's supposed to win. When he doesn't win, he snaps. The guy's got no fucking self control. And that escalation is the spine of this movie.
with his weird look, it's like we said before going on the air, that he looked like he just woke up. He was sleeping on the couch, and they were like, "Mr. Torn, we're ready for you." And he didn't go to makeup or nothing. He just looked pissed off, agitated, and hated black people. I mean, he played that shit to the point. He was like, "I know, don't let him look at you. Don't let him touch you." He had
Don't
all
you
these
touch that
rules.
fucking black gorilla, that stinking nigger. It's just, it's a punch, man.
Oh man, he was one of the better races in these movies so far that you were believable and not cartoony about it. Because God, like you said, he put some venom in every word that he said. Venom is the word for it. And then going back to Jim Brown, not only was he a standout in all the things you said, especially with his political beliefs, and he was very into having black businesses being ran by black people so they can have black independence, which is a smart
Yes.
thing. And again, the COINTELPRO, he was on the top of the list of that since Malcolm and Martin were gone and the Panthers were being dwindled out. Jim Brown has been on the government's most wanted list for a long time. I think they still got him on there, and the man is dead. That's how fucking scared they were of him. He was he was the first black man in a movie to make $200,000 in a paycheck, and he got a percentage of the gross. Where the fuck you think Arnold learned that shit from?
And for those of our listeners that don't know all of the history of the civil rights movement and the anti-civil rights from government at the time, COINTELPRO was the FBI wiretapping Dr. King's phone, Malcolm's phone, the Black Panthers infiltrating. It was that. Now, a year before this movie, they had shut that down, but the damage had been done. And I don't always believe the government's gone and done shut down what they tell us they've shut down.
I really don't. Because I mean, you can go on Google, ladies and gentlemen, just Google it. Everything that is in there, written by J. Edgar Hoover, an undercover gay man who had a black grandfather. Let that sink the fuck in so you'll know where the hate comes from. It's basically, it was like not just wiretapping, dissemination of information, but blatantly having the press put out untruths and straight up lies about these people, like saying Martin Luther King had all these pregnant women and all this stuff. Anything to just tarnish a person's image, especially a person of color, because that's what it was created for, to not have a black messiah. So if you ever heard of the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, that's where the title
Yes.
came from. I mean, and that movie was good, but the real life was way, way more dangerous and way, way more powerful. Because Freddie Hampton was more powerful, in my opinion, than Martin, Malcolm, Medgar, all combined. Because Freddie Hampton, was young. He was only like 22. And he did something that nobody else in that list that I just named couldn't do. He rallied blacks, browns, Asians, Native Americans, poor white people. They all figured it out under Freddie Hampton. They figured out what was being done, how they were being manipulated by the government, and they were all coming together in something they called the Rainbow Coalition. And just when it got too big to be too dangerous, they mistakenly shot Freddie Hampton over 70-something times while he was sleeping with his pregnant wife. Mistakenly. And then they mistakenly allowed people to come into the crime scene to see this riddled body to let them know this could be you too. It's really fucked up. It was very eye-opening to me when I first heard about the whole Freddie Hampton situation as a teenager. You know, getting back to this film, I think you would have needed a bazooka to kill Jim Brown because that motherfucker was unkillable, right?
Oh, no, you can't kill Jim Brown. And, just a word back about Stella Stevens. Her character is actually being trafficked. She's a professional companion within the crime
Yep.
organization that has been given to Rip Torn, to Dominic Hoffa. And she is then sent to Slaughter as a peace offering, and she switches sides. And that choice infuriates Hoffa. Her character becomes the emotional cost of his racism and cruelty. Just, again, great movie. And something that I maybe didn't catch years ago when I first saw this was the fact that there was some white slavery going on in there.
Yeah, yeah. And even she even admitted, she says, I want to be with you, saying it to Slaughter, because I guess she wanted her name to be Ann Slaughter. Go figure. But anyhow,
Yes.
she wanted to be with Slaughter, but she says, I can't because I'm another man's property. And he says, Jim Brown, we stopped buying and selling people a couple years ago, hundreds of years ago. That doesn't happen anymore. And that shows Jim Brown's character and the ignorance that he actually lived in. You know what I mean? He didn't even think, it didn't even come to his mind that white people could be slaves too. And I just thought that was really poignant for a low budget fucking shoot 'em up blaxploitation film. Jim Brown was known to be handsy when it came to stunts. So, stuntmen just had to prepare themselves for weeks on end to take an ass kicking because Jim Brown didn't know how to throw no fucking fake punches. Bad enough, it's
No.
funny. Watch him shoot a gun and he keeps blinking and squinting his eyes because the smoke is getting in his eyes. And every shot, it is way too funny. That's a drinking game. Every time Jim Brown shoots a gun, to have a shot whenever he squints his eyes because it looks like the dirt gets in his eyes. And ironically enough, that is the reason Wesley Snipes wears glasses in Blade because they didn't want to show him squinting his eyes when shooting a gun like Jim Brown did. So, see, Jim Brown touches everything. And then speaking of touching everything, they said Jim Brown's, not only is his fight scenes real, his sex scenes were real too. And he had two sex scenes in the first reel, dude. Two with Stella Stevens, the chick that wouldn't give Elvis any play. Come on, Elvis couldn't get no play,
No.
but she fell.
And she has no trouble taking off her clothes in this movie, folks.
I ain't had no trouble watching it, to be honest with you.
No, I was actually surprised because I've never been a big Stella Stevens fan. I always felt that she was more like one of the women my dad would be looking at.
Right.
But
But it
she
was
had a
just
body, man.
it was just the whole, I don't know. You go, wow, this is the chick that turned down Elvis. That just kept running in my head. Like Elvis tried his best because Elvis got whatever he wanted, and he did not get Stella Stevens because she found him boring and non-intelligent. And that was her
Wow.
words, not mine.
I met Elvis once.
Did you?
My uncle Leo and my cousin Eric, they lived next door to him up in Doheny in Los Angeles in Beverly Hills. And Eric and I were selling lemonade at a little corner stand. And he came out from his house, walked down his driveway, and bought a lemonade from us.
Hey, you gotta wash that fucking peanut butter and banana sandwich down with something.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So the film escalates through fights and gun battles.
They're
And
throwing people off rooftops.
oh, that first guy that goes off the roof, the one that falls like through the steam coming out of the air conditioner.
Jeez.
I was feeling bad for that
I
stunt guy.
was too.
The next guy at least lands in the swimming pool.
Right.
But that first one, man, I
First
was
one
like,
took a
shit.
bad plunge.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he just drops, man. Hoffo eventually kills Felici and takes over. He seizes power, he loses control. Slaughter, of course, never loses focus. And the climax is just pure exploitation goodness. Car chases, crash, fire. Hoffo's in that car burning, and he's asking Slaughter to take him out. And Slaughter's like, "Did you kill my mom and dad?" Rip Torn looks at him with that crazy fucking Rip Torn face and says, Yeah, I did it because I'm good at it. Killed a lot of people. Now help me out of here.
Nigger. I was like, dude, you would have got, he may have pulled you out if you didn't keep running your mouth. He's like,
Yeah, he just
threw it out
he
there.
doesn't
Like,
shut up.
he's like, dude, nigga, I'm burning up. Get me the fuck out of this car right now, you nigga. I was like, dude, looked like he was going to fucking pull you out. Now he just made you fucking sizzling and shit.
Just freaking great stuff. Slaughter kills Hoffo by incineration. No speech,
Hold up.
no
You missed the
mercy.
part where Harpo almost killed a kid. Remember when the kid was playing in the middle of the street? How real was that? It looked very
That
real
was
to
too
me.
real. I cringed.
I was like, he's gonna kill a little Mexican boy.
The music in this film was freaking great.
Uh-huh.
The music direction was Luchi de Jesus, but the soul of the film soundtrack is the great Billy Preston.
The fifth
His
Beatle.
theme song. Ah, yes. The fifth Beatle, Billy Preston, his theme song, Slaughter, rides on pure funk power. Now, it was released in 72 as a single. It hit number 17 on the R&B charts, but for some reason, AIP never released the soundtrack. So you'd never be able to go and listen to that great
Right, right.
action detective music, and then it gets that South American flair once they get to Mexico. And while the first movie technically doesn't take place in Mexico, in the sequel they do mention the incident in Mexico last year. So I guess once they were shooting in L.A., they didn't care anymore. The song, that theme song, found new life in Tarantino's Inglorious Bastards,
Exactly.
and it's just a shame that they just never released what would have been a classic soundtrack for a classic exploitation film. At the time, as always, the critics were split harshly. Variety called it an exploitable, violent programmer, noting Sterrett's action focus. The LA Times called it tacky and cynical, but audiences, including me, still showed up. According to AllMovie, Slaughter was a major box office hit, and it was one of Jim Brown's most popular films. He gets a sequel with Slaughter's big ripoff about a year later. But I like this movie a lot. The dialogue is a little rough and the setups are dated, but fucking Jim Brown, he has the walk, the stare, the sexual bravura enough to carry it all. Jim Brown, again, another actor that doesn't have to play tough. This guy was
Exactly.
tough as
He was.
frickin' nails. But I'll say this, whereas maybe if you're getting an autograph in the day from Fred Williamson, you shake his hand, thank him, and move on. I think Jim Brown had a little more warmth, might have been a little more
I
approachable.
think he would have been because Brown, like we said earlier in the show, he was more than just an actor, and his activism went hard. He stood by Ali when Ali was being threatened with jail time. He stood with Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Carl Stokes, those cats who stood for something. You didn't hear, sadly, that what you hear today where they say, oh, just shut up and bounce your ball and collect a paycheck. He stood for it, and he was willing to go to jail for that shit, and he was very upset that a lot of today's athletes and celebrities did not do the same for Colin Kaepernick when Colin Kaepernick did what he did, which was basically just taking a knee. Very, very benign, but it was very powerful. And Jim Brown he even said before he passed away, he said, it hurt me to no end that his fellow black actors and athletes did not feel the same, or if they did, they were afraid. And his excuse, and he's right. He said there are way too many millionaires out there who want to stay millionaires. They don't want to lose that money. They would rather keep that money and keep their mouth shut. And Jim Brown is absolutely right on that. But as a human being, man, he was fucking come on, really? No matter how small a role he's in, when he shows up, he commands the screen. Running Man. Remember when he was fireballing that? He didn't have a big
Oh, yeah.
role in it, but when he showed up, he was one of those actors that never yelled. He didn't scream, just his resonance, his voice, and it just carried. Like I remember in Running Man when the girl finds the dead body, she said, oh my God, I found the bodies of last year's winners. And he went, no, my dear, That's last year's Losers. And I was like,
Losers.
damn it, that's cold for a cat who's known for setting your ass on fire. I just love Jim Brown. I thought Jim Brown was always cool. And again, out of all these cats, he was the one that kind of frightened me because of his coolness. You know, everybody could beat me up in certain ways. You know, you got, Jim Kelly will karate the shit out of you. And then you got you know, Shaft. He would outcool you, beat you up, and take your woman. But I don't know. Jim Brown, man, he's scary. And it's hard to put in words. He's scary as a character, but I bet if you met him as a person, he was one of the best guys ever. Considering he had a whole fucking track record, a list of accusations from different women and wives and people. Dude, he beat a fucking cop up for pulling up on his driveway and the cop had to apologize. We need more of that, man. We need more of that. He pulled up on a cop in front of his house and the cop threatened to pull him out of his house and arrest him. And Jim Brown just beat the shit out of him and said, go back to the fucking police station, tell him I did it. And they went, we ain't pressing charges on him. We ain't tell you to go there and do that. Go there and apologize to that man. We better have it in writing. And he did it. But yeah, Jim Brown was the man. Again, I really wish the only thing about this movie that kind of like got me was like, we got a lot of Stella Stevens, but I wanted to see a little more of Marlene Clark.
Marlene Clark. Oh, yes.
But we got what we got. And I'm glad we got what we had. Hell, shit. I enjoyed this film. This was one of them films, again. I think this is the first time I watched this since I was a kid for this show, and I enjoyed it.
Same here. And this film, you got to remember, came out right at the beginning of the cycle. It's a response, certainly, to Shaft, but it proves you could build an entire action film around a black man who doesn't have to soften himself, doesn't have to explain himself, and who doesn't die at the end for comfort. Because he wasn't a metaphor. Jim Brown was authority. And while Slaughter isn't the loudest, it certainly isn't the weirdest, it might not even be the funkiest of the films that we cover here, it's one of the most confident. Starrett kept it tight. The writers gave it the genre bones. Rip Torn embodied racist entitlement. Marlene Clark brought dignity. Stella Stevens brought nudity.
Yeah.
And Jim Brown, he didn't need speeches. He just needed to show up, man. And fucking A, he sure as hell did.
He showed up.
Another great movie. And let me just say, it's good to be back, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, I missed it. I feel better. Everything is cool. I went back to Planet Funk, got re-energized, came back from the mothership with George Clinton in Parliament, Funkadelic, and I'm ready to rock and or roll. And I won't shoot anybody while blinking my eyes real tight.
And we just want to say thank you to all the folks out there who on the message boards and YouTube wish Nubius well when he took his spill.
I really appreciate it.
You can't keep a good man down.
Yeah, well, you can, but not this time. I'm good to go. We were ready to rock and roll. I appreciate everybody wishing me a speedy recovery, which I did. Thanks to my Black mutant healing factor. Wolverine can't be the only guy that can do this shit, I guess. But here I am. I'm back and I'm ready to do it. So
damn right, man.
We got a special coming to the end of the year, being that we did a Jim Kelly film, we did a Jim Brown film, and we did a what's my man's name again? Fred Williamson film. It's only right that the Avengers get together and do some avenging. So I think the next film we do before the end of the year is to get these three brothers back together and talk about one of the most incredible films that I thought was batshit crazy when I was a kid. But when I grew up, it had a total different resonance to it because the premise, you go, oh, this is so fucking cartoony. And then you go, oh my God, the government really did this shit for real. That movie would be 3 the hard way.
Blaxploitation Justice League, man.
Yes.
One of my favorites. If you folks haven't seen it yet, watch it, then listen to us on the next episode, or vice versa. Either way,
it is
this
good.
film is going to leave you smiling And there may not have been no pimps in today's episode, but when we do eventually come back for Slaughter's big ripoff, we got some crazy pimp in that. And we'll be doing a month of just sequels coming up pretty soon, too.
Yeah,
So, three
The Hard Way.
the hard way.
That film is so over the top, but it's one of those films that they made it purposely over the top, and if you figure out what they're trying to say and what happened in the real world that we live in, that a lot of people, black and white included, just don't wanna admit happened, or they just wish it went away. But that ain't what this film is gonna do. This film is insane, and even Black Dynamite took fucking homage to this film. If you guys seen Black Dynamite, watch it. Didn't watch Through the Hard Way, then listen to us in any of those orders and get back to us. Again, like, subscribe, share, give us some feedback. Let us know what you like. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And I promise you, we will answer any and all of you guys' questions and suggestions. So with that, come back again, same black time.
Same black channel.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Streetlights hum that midnight tune. Boots hitting pavement like a war drum soon.